Okay, begin.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So welcome to LAAF 36.
Yay!
Our third anniversary. Let's think of things that LAAF is older than. LAAF.
Older than?
Most people in this room.
Oh wait,
No,
sorry,
what?
36.
Oh.
36.
So LAAF is
different.
Older than the Obama presidency.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was
Yes.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Longer than the Obama presidency. LAAF is. Hey, Manita.
Yay!
There's a seat up here.
Yes, it there.
Yeah. It's prime real estate. There's also a seat over there.
Longer than you've had your job.
Longer than I have had my job.
Me too. Longer
Yeah,
than
longer
Yeah.
than our marriage. Longer than your job. It's longer than your job.
You're a motivational speaker right
I
now.
know.
All right. So on that high note, let's give it up for Professor Fair.
Yay! Cool. Thank you. I do have a microphone on. If you'd like to be recorded, you could come a little bit closer.
When I have comments out.
You have comments? All right.
Wait, Matt, turn the microphone vertical.
Vertical?
There's also, if anybody wants
You should clip it to your, there you go.
Like that? Awesome.
Okay, there's a seat here, and there's a
one
seat
and
here.
one.
Yeah.
For little people.
For little people.
No.
Oh. You can do it. Awesome. Yes.
Okay, there's two seats down.
All right, 2 seats over there.
You got a seat? Okay.
One over here.
Carol.
Wait, did I just give away Julian's seat? Here you go. You guys can sit down, dude. What? No. I'll do this with. I'll do this with.
I can bring.
I can do that. I have no problem with that.
All right, cool.
Oh yeah, we can sit on the floor.
Oh, yeah, people can sit on the floor, too.
Oh, don't sit on that.
Don't sit on that.
Actually, if you.
I'm gonna go home.
Wait, you guys go home and come back. Wait, Dennis, okay.
Come back for chicken strips.
What you gotta do, you know?
Alright, so there's 3 seats here, guys.
Yeah.
Like, not have
All right, Miles can edit all this out as we play musical chairs.
Hold on, that's exciting.
This is so exciting.
That show was like
This
10
is-
minutes of people trying to find seats. Really?
The standing room only at LAAF 36.
Talk to you.
Party of the day. All right.
Okay, alright.
All right. Here we go. All right.
We're all seated now. Yes. Oh, thanks.
Here comes the anticlimactic portion of the night. Oh, yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
You thought it was done.
You thought it was over. Watch out for the. Oh, no.
Oh.
Water. My fault.
Oh. Slowly.
Ooh. Oh, no.
No!
Can we use a towel?
So, like, something there, because it's slowly moving down to my old. Go! Yes.
You
Thank
guys have
you.
come a long way in 3 years.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, now I need new water, but okay.
Oh, don't worry.
That's all right. Oh,
Say hello to you.
that's all right. I don't need it. It's too dangerous.
Oh yeah.
It's too dangerous.
Water on the floor.
Hey, water. Where are you going? Don't be scared.
I'm scared.
Don't be scared. It's just a towel.
When?
Oh my gosh.
This one. Oh, I just went with
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, do your thing. Do your thing, man.
Okay. So I press enter again because I stopped it.
We'll just keep it going.
All right.
Yeah, they're gonna put it on YouTube.
All right. All right.
Here's a water
Oh,
for
it's-
you that you could bend it.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
Just show me the face there.
I like
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Just leave it.
Cool. Sorry about that, Lisa. Hey.
So I'm putting the water here. Okay?
Yeah, just put the water there.
USA.
USA. USA. Yay, Matt Nakamura. I feel like I'm at a Laker game and the kids come out and mop up sweat. Yeah. All right.
This is the second match.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay.
Wow.
Like,
Am The most important.
The most important one.
So what I miss?
Nothing. You missed us trying to get seated.
It's only like 15 minutes of us.
I know.
Is it still recording? Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. All right, sweet. Yeah, just stick it in your pocket.
Okay.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So finally, I guess we can start. So the title of my lecture is called From Boys to Men and Back to Boys Again. And this was sort of prompted by me turning 31. Yeah. But it sucks, so don't clap for that. All right, so anyway, I need 2 volunteers. I need a guy and a girl to read some quick dialogue really fast. Okay, cool. Thank you, Maite. Who else?
You're welcome. Sean.
Somebody.
You should do it.
Yeah, all right. So I need, I'm going to show you the transcript. You can sit there and do it. I'm going to show you the transcript of Calvin and Hobbes comic book. So if you could be Calvin, and if you could play Susie.
Of course.
All right, go ahead, Calvin.
I couldn't stand being a girl.
I can't stand you either way.
When guys grow up, they get to play with sports equipment, cameras, stereos, electric tools, you name it. But girls don't get any toys when they grow up. Women just buy clothes and shoes. How boring, how sad.
I guess girls actually mature as they get older.
Oh, dang, Susie. Burn. Go play with your tiger. Go play with your tiger. All right. So I thought I would open up with that. I think that's a good intro into what I'm going to talk about how kind of guys grow up and the different stages of growing up for men and women, but mostly I want to focus on how guys end up at this sort of like, lately we have been extending adolescence as far as it can go. With what? Man babies. I thought you said man boobs, and I was like, excuse me? All right. That's a different lecture. All right, that's you. So here are some of the stages in life that we've seen many movies about, right? Like, this is Billy Crystal from, you guys, can you name this? City Slickers, right? And very much throughout that movie, they're asking each other, we need a do-over. And one of the characters says, I'm at a dead end. I'm almost 40 years old. I've wasted my life. And I asked that question too when I turned 31, so I'm an overachiever. Yeah, I was like, in your face. All right, but different stages that have been depicted in screen are like the teenage years with American Graffiti, American Pie, and Superbad more recently. Midlife crisis movies like City Slickers and Old School, in which a bunch of older middle-aged men want to start a fraternity so they can kind of relive their youth again. And then the golden years, Grumpy Old Men, which was kind of interesting because they were old guys that were like sarcastic and vital and just, it was like life as a grumpy old man. And then Cocoon, which was about a bunch of old people trying to get younger again, right? So
You forgot the bucket list.
the bucket list, oh, but they were also dying. So, you know, that's,
They're not trying to live.
yeah, that's a downer. So I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put cancer in here. No, let's not do that. All right, so that's aging. 50-50. Oh, we should watch 50-50. And that would be somewhere in the middle, like right there. All right, so my next slide. So we have this new phenomenon called like the quarter life crisis, or just like quarter lifers, right? And this was originally coined in 1997.
Watching this little
Oh, okay. I'll just do that. Yeah. Oh no! I don't know where to read. Okay. So the history of a quarter life crisis, the term kind of came from these two women, Abby Wilner and Alexandra Robbins, from 1997. So the term has been around for 1997, 2011 minus 97. You can do that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'll give you all a minute. Okay. So this part of life is marked a lot by being frustrated because you're not really achieving the goals that you want, or maybe not having the relationships that you want. And this can lead to a lot of just sort of loneliness or just an anxiety about purpose and what you're going to do with your life, both with your career and professionally. All right, so maybe 50-50 could fit under there because it does deal with mortality. I think their work, these two women's work, was influenced by, Macaulay. Whoa. By Macaulay Culkin. But I think they were influenced by Erik Erikson, who has his like hierarchy and stages of development, right, Lisa Lou? Mm-hmm. Yes, right? Okay. And then, so Eric talks about this area from, huh? Yeah, Eric, I'm a professor, he's an academic, we're like this. You can call him Eric too. Come on, G, right? We're on first name basis, we can be on. Abby. Me and Eric, me and E. Me and 2E, as I like to call him. Me and 2E were like hanging out. I was reading his book, and I was like, dang. So he talks about the years from 25 to 40 are about sort of establishing relationships. And around 30, you kind of get this anxiety where you want to establish relationships. And hopefully, you've come through your teenage years with a set identity, and then you can move forward and kind of connect with other people. And if you can't do that, that can lead to isolation and frustration about that. Right, Lisa Lou? Fact check, just checking. Good. All right, I didn't make anything up. Good. This is still good. All right. And then I was thinking about teenagers as well. The idea of a teenager, the American teenager, has only been around for about 50 years or so. Maybe 60, because we're in 2011 now. But the idea of a teenager was sort of born through the Depression and solidified through World War II. Right? So during the Depression, people didn't have jobs. And before that, if you were a kid, you just go work. You'd be an apprentice or something. And so through the Depression, through World War II is when we got the high school years solidified, and then everyone started going to high school. And because everyone started going to high school, they became their own demographic called the teenagers. Right? And then because the economy wanted to cater to them, they realized that teenagers had a lot of money. And so we had movies and just different parts of pop culture for them, for teenagers. Right? And so now I think the economy is responding to those in the quarter life area and giving them sort of like pittance and credence to sort of complain about how their lives aren't what they want. And so I think the economy affects them in both good ways, or a good economy affects them and a bad economy affects them. The bad economy, I think, creates more anxiety because you see more and more young people after college going back and living with their parents and sort of becoming adolescents again. Right? So they're adults, but then they live at their parents' house, and then there's some chafing and some tension there. And a good economy also kind of creates quarter lifers because they don't want to grow up, and they have plenty of money, so they can spend that money and act like kids, act like teenagers with jobs and lots of money. And so the focus on this lecture is really about like the males, I think, have the toughest part with this quarter life section. So I think part of it is due to gender roles and how I think men in the late 20th century, 21st century kind of don't know what to do with themselves. As women's liberation and feminism kind of came through the country in the 70s, women are becoming more assertive, right? And they're really empowered to do whatever they want and pursue careers that may have been originally dominated by men, right? And so men kind of have to make room for them and make space for them, as rightly they should. But this sort of makes men, but this sort of like puts into, yeah, wait for the end of the sentence, okay? Come on. But I think a lot of traditional male qualities are sort of like downplayed now, like aggression, which are definitely more masculine traits, are sort of like kind of looked down upon now, which kind of leads to the rise of the beta male, who's less aggressive, not the alpha male, kind of like the one in the back. And that beta male role model is what's more prevalent now, I think. So this again leads to an extended adolescence. And then there's this trope of the mook and the midriff, which was very popular in the 90s. I'll talk about the midriff first because I don't want to spend too much time on her, because I want to focus on the mook. The midriff is like Britney Spears before she went crazy, Christina Aguilera sometime pre-Dirty, you know, and then that's the midriff. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the midriff, and she's marketed to girls, to tweens, young teenagers as a role model, and she's shown as like using her sexuality to get what she wants. And so the young girls don't know what that is or how powerful that is, but they emulate it. The mook is the extended adolescence, and that image is pushed by the media in different guys like Tom Green, who was big in the 90s, the cast of Jackass, who still persists as mooks. They're grown men who do childish things, right? And so Jackass is a perfect example of them because they do really, really dumb things, I think. But they're really cool too on one level. You're like, wow, I want to, I don't know, get in a porta potty and get launched like that. Well, not really. But maybe for when I turn 32. Maybe not. Dreaming big. So that idea of the mook persists with boys a lot. And I think that is sort of enriched and nourished in our culture, so the boys don't really grow up. And so even though they do grow up, they're older, and now they have plenty of money and plenty of time to be mooks and just sort of like be boys, but be boys with like $40,000 a year, all right? So that's why. So that's the man problem area. So then I read this article. It made me so mad. And that's why like much of this laugh is inspired by my anger at this woman. Okay, Himowitz, I hate you. Yeah, you don't have enough vowels in your name. Okay, Himowitz. All right. So anyway, this woman wrote this article called Where Have the Good Men Gone? All right? And she has quotes like this in here, which made me really mad. Guys talk about Star Wars like it's not a movie made for people half their age. A guy's idea of a perfect night is to hang around the PlayStation with his bandmates or a trip to Vegas with his college friends. They're more like the kids we babysat than the dads who drove us home. And then this other one, which made me really mad. Single men have never been civilization's most responsible actors. And I was like, bitch. Right? Like, I was like, I hope this never makes it to the Wall Street Journal. Hi, Wall Street Journal, I love you guys. AKA, all right. So, I was like, man, that's really mean. So I was really upset. And I was like, first of all, like, if you've seen Star Wars, you know that, like, it produces really cool things, like robots and Natalie Portman, right? So, like, how can that be bad, right? And like, Star Wars is about archetypes, so it's not about age, it's universal, right? It's universal. It's for everyone, right? Exactly, right? Come on, Kay. All right, we need to do a laugh on Star Wars and invite Kay. So, I mean, right? This is R2-D2. He moves by himself and he's got his own language. Like, that's sophisticated, I think. She's like sophisticated. She went to Harvard, right? She was also a potential mother, right, June? She's a realized mother now, right? So, potential mother. You missed your potential mother. You missed inappropriate conversations from earlier. We can fill you in, but not on camera. So. So I'm like, dude, you don't know anything about Star Wars, right? And I was like, man, like, I don't go to Vegas all that much, but like, it looks fun, right? Right? Like, these guys look like they're having fun, as evidenced by their movie The Hangover and The Hangover Part 2, right? Or just mostly The Hangover, because The Hangover Part 2 is in Thailand or whatever. So yeah, I mean, that looks fun. And I'm like, dude, Kay, you know nothing about how single guys have fun. You've probably never even been to Comic-Con, right? Right? What do you know? What do you know about how guys have fun, Kay? Right? And I bet all these guys right here are all single. I bet you they are. And for good reason. For good reason. Like, they're busy. The Justice League is busy fighting crime. You don't have time to date. I mean, come on. And then like he's a mercenary, which isn't a very good, like, that's not very good for moral character, but he has 1,000 clone babies that he has to take care of. So he's got to make money somehow, right? So I'm like, hey, I know, he's no deadbeat clone progenitor dad person thing. And he's not even going around getting women pregnant, right? So he's like keeping it to himself, and it's good. He is yeah. So I mean, come on, Kay. That's responsible parenting, sort of, right there. And they are saving civilization every day in sneakers, right there. So, I was like, man, so I'm so mad at Kay, right? I'm so mad at Kay. And then I was like, she's obviously never met this guy, right? Right? Yeah, I mean, he was the single male, right? Yeah, the alpha, the beta, the delta, the gamma, all the way to omega, right? Right?
Oh yeah.
And he did okay, right? I mean, he changed the world. Civilizations, she's talking about how she talks about how single males are not guardians of the social order and whatever. And I'm like, dude, all right. Right? Obviously, she has also never met these guys either. I mean, check this out. Like, this is... So, This is yeah. So like I mean he's got.
Only one that was ready.
I mean this is. That's what. Yeah. So like you know he's got this like James Franco hosting the Oscars kind of. I mean that's hot, man. That's hot. That's hot. That's this guy's got it going on, man. And then he makes internet memes that are like waiting to go viral, right? Waiting to go viral, still waiting to go viral. That's awesome. That takes skill, right? Right? And this guy sits next to them, so that's pretty good too. Right? So man, she was like really bothering me. So she obviously has not met enough single guys, right? And she was talking about how like single males are like they're gonna destroy civilization because they don't get married, they don't build families, and they just sit around playing Xbox all day. And I was like, man, civilization's greatest threat. And I thought of this guy, and I was like, what? Or maybe it's this guy, right? So I couldn't figure out like which one of these is civilization's greatest threat according to like Kay Himmelwitz, right? So I'm like, man, we're almost equal. It's me and Osama. Man, I hope the FBI is not tapping this. So, but yeah, I was like, whoa, who's worse, me or him? We're both destroying civilizations here. So, I'm going to invite you to play a game with me, and the game is called Jihadist or the Professor.
Wow. Happy for you guys.
The essence of love.
FBI, here comes the FBI. Oh man, right. So all right, so.
Our number one Google search.
So all right, so I'm gonna put up a descriptor. You tell me if it's jihadist or the professor. All right, educated, jihadist or professor. Both.
What kind of education?
Kind of. Actually, the answer is both, right? Osama bin Laden is said to have a degree in engineering, and I have a master's degree in English, which is really great for real life skills and stuff. So, pretty educated, right? So I'm like, oh damn, I'm losing here, right? I'm just like Osama. So another thing, all right, here's the next one. Wife or girlfriend suggested to cure problems, right? Jihadist or professor? Both. The answer is both, right? So actually, the Saudi Arabians have a rehabilitation program for their like terrorists that they catch, and part of it is getting them married. Yeah, getting them married because they want to have them like stable, and they want to reconnect them with their family and their community and stuff. So part of that is actually getting them wives and stuff. So that would make the people at my church happy because they would tell me to move to Saudi Arabia probably. Because they're always like, how come you're not married? And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I need to go to rehab. So that's both again. Here's another descriptor. This is a quote, more trouble and less successful than other men. Both. Yes, both. Osama's pretty obvious. That one's pretty obvious. And then that's from the Wall Street Journal article, according to that lady Kay who knows nothing. And lastly, threatens the social order and civilization. Mostly Osama, but still kind of both, according to Kay, because I undermine and we undermine the nuclear family apparently, because we don't make any. All right. So I made this graphic where you can tell what the overlap is. Okay, so the middle. So you can read that, right? Right. So the terrorists they answer the call of duty to go on jihad. Single males will play Call of Duty. Osama bin Laden was said to live in caves, and we have man caves. They wear military clothing, and single guys will cosplay sometimes at Comic-Con, right? But in the middle, both well-educated, no women, and they destroy social order. So in between that, so that was a pretty handy-dandy graphic, I thought. All right. Looks like a TIE fighter or something.
Yeah, TIE fighter.
Yeah.
Oh my
Or what?
God.
Oh, sorry. Can you say that?
You're looking at front on. And
Front
you're
on.
saying-
Okay.
This guy's like.
Yeah. I think the girls are gonna win the toucan today. Wow. All right, so this is The Graduate, one of the first one of the first like single male quarter lifers, Benjamin Braddock, right? We saw The Graduate in LAAF, right? Miles did a LAAF on it, right? So you know what happens. He graduates from college. He's very educated, but kind of aimless. He doesn't know what to do. People come up to him and say, Benjamin, what are your plans? What are your plans? And he's like, I don't know. And then early on, like something really random happens. He's actually mauled by a wild animal called a cougar. And he is attacked by her. She lures him into her lair, and then all of a sudden there's like really real life issues happen after that. Like the cougar attack pulls him into real life, and there's discussions of like rape, infidelity, and marriage as things fall apart, right? So that's how he kind of becomes an adult, by like being initiated by the cougar. Zach Braff, right? I can't talk about quarter lifers and single males that destroy worlds without Zach Braff, right? Because as you know, he's known for Garden State, Last Kiss, and Scrubs, which are all movies or TV shows that concentrate on characters that are kind of aimless. They're like in Scrubs, he's a doctor, but he's still sort of like he's kind of drifting a lot. He doesn't know what to do with himself, and a little bit insecure, kind of unconfident, and then. There's like hot girls in there, so I just. Yeah. All right. Lost in translation because let's not forget old people and girls, right? I was gonna show this movie, and then I worked hard on the slides, so I'm just gonna keep it. I thought this movie was really good because it shows the perspective of aging from an older and a younger perspective, and then especially a female one, because you don't really see too many movies about quarter life crises with females in them, right? It's mostly like guys who have to grow up. And you have Bob right here, who is in midlife with kids and wife and sort of stuck there and not too happy about it, meeting Charlotte, who is 22, Yale grad, newly married, and she doesn't really know what to do with her life. So here's a couple of quotes that I thought were really good. There's a scene where they're in the bar, and Charlotte goes up to him and says, may we switch seats? And she's saying that on a literal level because her husband and their friends are talking about just vapid, innocuous, stupid things. And she's just sick of it. So she goes over to him and says, can we switch seats? But then also, I think on a bigger level, it operates because she wants to like maybe skip this time of anxiety and uncertainty and be established like him, right? But then the movie is about them sort of coming together, and he would probably want to switch seats with her too because he's older. He feels like his marriage is sort of in a rut, and the kids don't care about him and stuff like that. So I thought that quote was really telling. She says at one point to him, I'm stuck. Does it get easier? Right? And then he says to her, I'm not worried about you, in response to that. When he says, like, it gets better, I'm not worried about you. He talks about his children and how much he loves them, and how he says they're just the most delightful people you'll ever meet. And so he says to her, I'm not worried about you, which is a reference to an earlier line which his wife says to him, should I be worried about you? And she says it in a way that's sort of like angry, like, should I be worried about you? Because he's just sort of being apathetic and just generally disinterested. So when he says it to her, it's encouraging and comforting, instead of when his wife asks, should I be worried about you? It's not comforting, it's more accusatory. All right, next slide. So our movie is Bottle Rocket, right? And here's the cast of Bottle Rocket. They look sort of like the guys who didn't get cast in Swingers, right? They look kind of hip, but not really that hip, right? They're not in LA. This is like rural Texas. You know, and then it's not like the Standard or the W Hotel. It's not even Motel 6. It's like a Motel 4 that they hang out at. So the movie is about these three guys, and they're aimless. Two of them, at least Luke Wilson's character has been to college, and they're just sort of aimless, right? So here's a short description of things that we're going to look for in Bottle Rocket. So your Bottle Rocket terrorist profile, right? Single male terrorist profile. They don't have any goals, right? Which leads to a mission, which I shall call jihad for now, right? They don't have any goals, right? And Anthony's character has a breakdown, and he says, I had a breakdown one day when somebody asked me, do you want to go outside and lay out in the sun or water ski? And he goes, and I realized I didn't want anyone to ever ask me that question ever again, right? Because it's too hard to choose, I guess. I don't know. They're aimless, they're semi-educated, but they do have, I said they don't have goals, they don't have good goals. They want to break into a life of low-level crime. Not even big-level crime, just low-level crime. They want to get the attention of a crime boss, a mid-level crime boss. So they're not aiming high, they're not even achieving anything. They're like quarter-lifers who are actually, you know, criminals don't contribute, but they're like not even good criminals. They're pretty bad at it. Dignan, the main character, Dignan, Owen Wilson's character, is very childlike. I think quixotic is the best word for it. He has all these far-reaching schemes, and he always says like, we're gonna rob this place, and we're gonna need like bazookas and tanks, and it's gonna involve hang gliders and stuff like that. And he just has no kind of grasp on reality. And near the end of the movie, he says, they'll never catch me. I'm fracking innocent, right? So, but you know that they will catch him because he's not a very good thief. And then he's not innocent because he's a thief, right? But it's also true on a level because he's super innocent. He's very naive. He's very childlike. And so in that way, he is innocent, but he's still going to get caught. And then this guy asks him, are you in the army? And he says, no, I just have short hair. Right? And I thought that line was very telling of Dignan's character because he pretends to be an adult. Right? He tries to act like an adult. He's old enough to be an adult, but he's a child in many ways. He's just playing cops and robbers, and he just wants to be a robber. So that line I thought was symbolic of him putting on a guise. He looks like an army man. He looks like an adult, but he's not an adult. All right. This is a line from the movie. One of the characters says to Anthony in Spanish, "No tienes un plan," which means you don't have a plan. And so I put "no" in parentheses because I want you to think about whether they do have a plan. And are these signs of maturity? So in the movie, how many of you have not seen Bottle Rocket? Awesome. All right. So this movie's very subtle, very dry, and it's funny though. But one of the things that you see is Dignan's notebook. So he gets Anthony, he picks up Anthony, and he's like, I've got it all mapped out. I've got it all mapped out. And he has everything in set by years even. And so this is like the second 5 years, next 25 years. Right here is like next 50 years. Ways of success, it says like chances, odds, bet long. So they're not getting real jobs, they're just gambling. And then the next 50 years, wives and family, right? So like Kay says, they don't want to get married, right? They just want to goof off and gamble. But yet, at the same time, Dignan has a plan, but it's not a good plan, and it's not productive. Much of the movie takes place, the movie opens in a hospital, and then much of it takes place in a hotel. And so hospital could represent birth in many ways. And then a hotel is a place that's transitory, right? People don't stay there. You're not supposed to live in a hotel. But the middle part of the movie takes place in a hotel. And then they begin to transition out of the hotel. So they begin to grow up a little bit as some of their schemes don't work out. And they move out of the hotel. I won't tell you where they end up. The female and familial influences play a big part. One of the friends, Bob, his brother is the antithesis of him. He's like a preppy. He looks like he's got job prospects and things like that. And he beats up Bob all the time. Anthony is influenced by two female characters. One, a love interest, who says this to him, you don't have a plan, right? And that begins to settle him and make him think about having a plan. And then his sister, who says, why are you hanging out with Dignan, right? They use a little sister trope. She's like 12 years old, and yet she's wise beyond her years. And she says, don't hang out with Dignan anymore. He's a liar, and he's not good for you. So he's kind of influenced by them, and he ends up with this. He ends up with 3 jobs at the end. And at one point, when he's writing to his sister, he says, I'm too tired to even think about blown opportunities, right? So he's kind of moving away from the core life, and instead of thinking about chasing all these dreams, he's just sort of like holding down a job. And then the last thing you want to think about as the movie progresses, there's a heist at the end. Is it regression or progression, right? Does Anthony go on the heist and act like a child again one more time, or is he doing this out of his friendship to Dignan, right? Is this a mature idea to go on this heist and go rob this place? All right, now it's time for LAAF advice column. Dear Professor Fail, how are you? Thanks for all your advice at the hospital. I've had some adventures since I got out, but now I'm doing okay. I'm living at my friend Bob's parents' house. I'm working as a paperboy now, so I'm super busy. Everything's great except for one thing. My friend Dignan wants to go on one last adventure together. I don't think it's a good idea. His crazy schemes tend to involve firearms and tend to get us in trouble. I'm afraid if I don't go, I'll really hurt his feelings. Sincerely, Anthony. All right, and the response. Dear Anthony, sounds like you've got a dilemma when it comes to Dignan. On one hand, you need to take care of yourself. Dignan's dangerous and immature plans sound very childish, and it might be best just to move on with your life as a professional paper deliverer. Then again, doing this for Dignan might be a sign of maturity, as you recognize that the needs of others should sometimes take precedence over your own. I don't know. You know I wasn't a real doctor at that hospital, right? Sincerely. All right. And that concludes LAAF 36. Yay!